Hello, everyone. Welcome to Karnataka LMS, Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. This is the program of management and the subject organizational behavior. I'm Ranjita BR. Today, in this session, I'm going to present a topic on perceptual perception process and errors in perception process. So what is a perceptual perception process? It is a sequence of steps that begins with the environment and leads to our perception of a stimulus and action in response to this stimulus. In order to fully understand how the perception process works, we have to follow each of the following steps. From the definition of perception, it is very clear that perception is composed of various sub-processes, that is receiving, selecting, organizing, interpreting, checking, and reacting to stimuli. Through perception, people process information, input into decisions and action. We can say that the perception is plays as a filter through which information passes through and before having an effect on people. So the main process in the perception process are perceptual inputs. Second one, perceptual mechanism. So when we concentrate on perceptual inputs, and after the sub process, I'll go to the perceptual inputs. So sub process are perceptual selection, perceptual organization, perceptual interpretation, checking, and reacting. So what is a perceptual input? A number of stimuli are constantly confronting people in the form of information, objects, events, people, etc. In the environment, these are served as the input of the perceptual process. A few of the stimuli affecting the senses, it may be a sound, it may be a traffic, it may be a noise of the vehicles, loudspeaker, playing somewhere. So it's all the impact of the total environment situation. Or these are a perceptual inputs for the perception process. And now we'll move on to the perceptual mechanism. When a person receives information, he tries to process it through the following sub-process. So the first one, that is perceptual selection. The world around us filled with an infinite number of stimuli that we might attend, but our brains do not have the resources to pay attention to everything. So the first step of perception is the decision of what to attend to. When we attend to one specific thing in our environment, whether it is a smell, feeling, sound, or something else, it becomes the attended stimulus. Perceptual selectivity refers to the tendency to select certain object from the environment for attention. The objects which are selected are those which are relevant and appropriate for individual, or those which are consistent with our existing beliefs, values, and needs. For this, we need to screen or filter most of them so that we may deal with the important or relevant one. So we focus on the ones that stand out to our senses. We take information through all 5 of our senses, but our perceptual field includes so many stimuli that it is impossible for our brains to process and make sense of it all. So as information comes in through our senses, various factors influence what actually continues on through the perception process. The following factors govern the selection of stimuli: the external factors and internal factors. So out of the, I'll take up the external factors now. So under the external factors, which governs the selection of stimuli. So number 1, that is size. The bigger the size of the stimulus, the higher the probability that it is perceived. You may have observed the big hoardings, big advertisement in the newspaper that catches your attention. In a tall person comes inside, and he will be stand out, and he will be noticed. If there are 10 male members are standing, within which one female, then she catches your attention. So that is the size of a person or size of anything always attracts the attention because it establishes dominance. The size of a person, height of a person, weight of an individual. So these are the things which catches our attention. Second one, intensity. So intensity always attracts or increase the selective perception. So a very bright color or a dim light, or if I say that come and meet me in the staff room immediately, that will have that very intense, it will have an intensity. If I say make it convenient to meet me in the staff room, so it is a less consistent one. So intensity is, intensity. So less intensity is having. So which is the more intensity of the sentence is come and meet me immediately. So this will catches our attention. Then repetition. You may be observed in a TV commercials. They go on giving repeated advertisement that catches your mind and attention. So giving the any product shown again and again on the TV, it will have a more attention. So the repetition principle states that a repeated external stimulus is more attention drawing than a single one. If any commercial on any one product is given only once in a day, it may not have a impact when the same impact as the commercial or the product which is having repeated advertisement on a TV. So then status. So high status people can expect a greater influence on the perception. If your principal or the HOD says something and gives order, than the non-teaching staff giving the instruction, if you compare on those, you give more importance on the orders of the principal or your HOD. So the status of a person who gives the order is also accountable here. Then contrast. In any object which contrasts with the surrounding environment is more likely to be noticed than the object which blends in the environment. Maybe in a signboard or a danger, how the danger will be written. So that danger board, or in a cinema hall, that exit sign in a black background and written in a red color. So it will catches your attention. That is the contrast to the environment. So then movement. The principle of motion states that a moving object receives more attention than the object which is standstill. So a moving car will attract your attention. A moving person will attract your attention more rather than a standstill or standing person, or a flashing neon light is more easily noticeable. So then novelty and familiarity. The principles state that either a novel or a familiar external situation can serve as attention getter. So new objects in a familiar setting, a familiar face in a railway station or a familiar face in a bus stop will attract more attention. So therefore the manager changes the worker's job from time to time because it will increase the attention they give to their jobs. So new object in a new settings will draw the attention of the perceiver. Then nature. By nature, we mean whether the object is visual or auditory and whether it involves pictures, people, or animals. The video attracts more attention than the still pictures. A picture with the human beings attract more attention than a picture with animals. So poetry attracts more than the prose. So like this, the nature of the object is a visual. If it is a visual, then it will get the more attention. So these are the external factors which govern the selection of stimuli. Now let us move on to the internal factors. So internal factors are learning, motivation, and personality. First, we'll understand what is learning. The internal factors related to the perceiver. Perceiving people is very important for the manager because behavior occurs as a result of behavior. So in the case of learning, learning creates an expectancy in an individual, and expectancy makes him see what he wants to see. Internal factors learning may play the single biggest role in developing perceptual set. Sorry. A perceptual set is basically what a person expects from the stimuli on the basis of his learning and experience relative to same or similar stimuli. The perceptual set is also known as a cognitive awareness, by which the mind organizes information and forms image and compares them with the previous exposure to similar stimuli. So I'll move on to the motivation. Motivation is also have a vital has a vital impact on perceptual selectivity. For example, a person walks into the lunchroom. He may go to the table where several of his co-workers are sitting, rather than he chooses a table which is empty or just one person is sitting. A person who is already having high need for power, affiliation, or achievement will be more attentive to the relevant situational variables. So therefore, he chooses the table which is having more number of people, co-workers are sitting, rather than a table which is empty or a single person is sitting. Then another example is when a hungry person, he is more sensitive to the smell or sight of food than a non-hungry person. So that is the motivation. Next one, personality. it is closely related to learning and motivation is the personality of the perceiving person. The person, if we take the organization is comprises both young people and the old senior executives. If we listen to the old senior executives, they always complain about the inability of the new young managers to take tough decisions concerning terminating or reassigning people and paying attention to the details and paperwork. If you ask the young managers, they complain about the old people regarding not changing their mindset and using paper and rules as their weapons. And they always complain about the generation gap and not adopting the new technologies, etc. They go on like this. So, if you take the women, women's are not getting enough attention or not reaching to the top level because it is always women's are perceived as a lesser than the men compared to the men abilities. So these are the personality of the people, which is also have an impact on the selection of perception. So now let us move on to the next process, that is perceptual organization. After having once we have chosen to attend the stimulus in the environment, the choice sets off a series of reaction in our brain. Organizing is the second part of the perception process, in which we sort and categorize information that we perceive based on innate and learned cognitive patterns. In other words, person's perceptual process organizes the incoming information into meaningful whole. While selection is a subjective process, organizing is a cognitive process. How we organize the stimuli is primarily based on some principles. So there is number one, that is the figure and the ground. This principle simply implies that the perceived object or person or event stand out distinct from its background and occupies the cognitive space of the individual. For example, you're watching this screen. In this, the background is white and black is the letter or words to be read. You do not try to understand what the white space amidst the black letters could mean. You are not going to give the importance on the background. Likewise, in the organizational setting, some people are more noticed or stand out than others. For example, an individual in the organization might try to focus his entire attention on his immediate supervisor, trying to be in his good books, completely ignoring his colleagues and how they feel about his behavior, giving attention only on one thing. So if you're seeing this screen, you're giving the attention on the letters rather than what is in the backside, background, what is the color of the background, or how it looks, how it feels, nothing. You don't worry about those things. So like this. So according to this principle, the perceiver tends to organize only the information which stands out in the environment. So that is figure and ground. Second one, the perceptual grouping. So grouping is the tendency to curb individual stimuli into meaningful patterns. If we perceive object or people with similar characteristics, we tend to group them together. And this organizing mechanism helps us to deal with the information in an efficient way rather than a confused way. rather than going to be confused. The tendency of grouping is very basic in nature and largely seems to be inborn. Some of the factors like similarity, so under perceptual grouping, so first one, that is similarity. We tend to group the similar objects in a one group with similar characteristics. If in the organization, women workers are treated as one group, or if we ask the visitors to wear the white hats, then the workers are wearing blue hats, then white hats people are grouped one together in a group. So on the basis of the similarity, we group them. And next one, proximity. The principle of proximity means a group of stimuli that are close together will be perceived as a whole pattern of parts belonging together. For example, several people working on a machine will be considered as a single group. And if the productivity on that particular machine is low, then the entire group will be considered responsible, even though some people at the group are inefficient. In a class, if the result shows a lesser result, then the whole class will be fired by the teacher. Even though there are some students are scored too well, or if the students are making creating any problem in the class, then whole class will be fired by the teacher, even though there are some students are very good. So this is the proximity. And the closure. The principle of closure relates to the tendency of the people to perceive object as a whole, even though when some parts of the object are missing. The person's perceptual process will close the gaps that are unfilled from sensory input. Then continuity. Continuity is closely related to the closure, but there's a difference. Like closure supplies missing stimuli. Continuity principle says that a person will tend to perceive continuous line of pattern. Only the obvious patterns or relationship will be perceived. Because of this type of perception, the inflexible managers may require that employers follow a set and a step-by-step routine, leaving no ground for implementation of out-of-line innovative ideas. So next we'll move on to the perceptual constancy. Constancy is one of the more sophisticated forms of perceptual organization. This concept gives a person a sense of stability in this changing world. Now, and this sub points are shape constancy. When an object appears to maintain its shape despite the marked changes in a retinal image. So the top of a glass bottle as a circular, whether we view it from side or from the top, from anywhere, the shape will be thought as a round. Then the size constancy. The size constancy refers to the fact that as an object is moved farther away from us, we tend to see it as more or less invariant in size. Then color constancy implies that familiar objects are perceived to be of the same color. If you're the owner of a red car, see it is a red, even though in a dim twilight. So then fourth one, that is perceptual context. The highest and most sophisticated forms of organization is context. It gives meaning and value to simple stimuli, objects, events, situations, and other persons in the environment. A verbal order, a new policy, a pat on the back. So these are all perceptual context. And perceptual difference. Closely related to perceptual context is the difference. A person may build a defense against stimuli or situation events in a particular context that are personally or culturally unacceptable or threatening. It is important role of understanding union and the management and supervisor subordinate relationship. Most studies verify the existence of perceptual defense mechanism. So these are all things, principle on this stimuli organized in these principles. Then the next process is perceptual interpretation. After we have attended to stimulus and our brains have received and organized the information, we interpret it in a way that makes sense using our existing information about the world. Interpretation simply means that we take the information that we have sensed and organized and turn it into something that we can categorize. After the categorization, after the interpretation, now the process will move on to the checking. After data have been received and interpreted, the perceiver tends to check whether the interpretations are right or wrong. One way of checking is for the person himself to indulge in introspection. He'll put a series of questions to himself and answers will confirm whether his perception about the individual or object is correct or otherwise. Then after checking, it will move on to the reacting. It is the last stage in perception, and the perceiver shall indulge in some action in relation to the perception. The action depends on whether the perception is favorable or unfavorable. It is negative when the perception is unfavorable, and the action is positive when the perception is favorable. So by this, the perceptual perception process will end. First we select, organize it, and interpret it, then checking, and last stage is reacting. The selection, organization, interpretation, checking, and reacting can differ among different people. On the basis of these, the perceptual output, that means values, attitudes, behavior, etc., of the perceiver may differ. Therefore, when people react differently in the situation, part of their behavior can be explained by examining their perceptual process and how their perceptions are leading to their responses. So now, once we understand how the perception process will go on, and what are the errors will take place in the process. Many times the prejudice in the individual, time of perception, unfavorable background, lack of clarity of stimulus, confusion, conflict in mind. Such other factors are responsible for errors in perception. Some of them are illusion, hallucination, halo effect, stereotyping, similarity, horn effect, contrast. So, first one we'll take up illusion. The illusion is a false perception. Here, the person will mistake a stimulus and perceive it wrongly. For example, in the dark, a rope is mistaken as a snake, or vice versa. The voice of unknown person is mistaken as a friend's voice. A person standing at a different distance who is not known may be perceived as a known person. So this is the illusion effect. Then hallucination. Sometimes we come across instances where the individual perceives some stimulus, even when it is not present. The phenomena is known as hallucination. The person may see an object, person, etc., or he may listen to some voice, though there are no objects and sounds in reality. Then selective perception. So selective perception means a situation when the people selectively interpret what they see on the basis of their interests, background, experience, and attitudes. It means any characteristics that makes a person or event stand out will increase the probability that it will be perceived. Halo effect. This is the tendency to rate a man uniformly high or low in other traits if he is extraordinarily high or low in one particular trait. If a worker has few absences, his superior might give him a high rating in all other areas of work. Stereotyping. People usually can fall into at least one general category based on physical or behavioral traits, then they will be evaluated when we judge someone on the basis of our perception of the group to which he or she belongs. We are using the shortcut called stereotyping. A boss, for example, a boss might assume that a worker from a Middle East country is lazy and cannot meet performance objectives. Or a student from the government college, from the rural background, may be perceived as non-intelligent student. So like this is called as stereotyping. Similarity. Often people tend to seek out and rate more positively those who are similar to themselves. This tendency to approve of similarity. If there are two students are friends, one student's nature will be tend to be imposed on another one. We tend to see them as both are very similar. So similarity may cause evaluators to give better ratings to employees who exhibit the same interests, work methods, and view or standards. Horn effect. When the individual is completely evaluated on the basis of a negative quality or feature perceived. So this result in an overall lower rating than acceptable rate. Contrast. The tendency to rate people relative to other people rather than to individual performance or he or she is doing. Rather, we will evaluate the employee by comparing that employee's performance with other employees. So by this, I end the session of explaining. I explained in the session the perception process as well as the errors in perception process. Thank you for watching. this video. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.